the installation of NGINX web server on Ubuntu virtual machine. I'll go ahead. I don't know why this is not coming. Oh, no, my keyboard is, sorry, I wasn't connected to the keyboard. Okay. Okay, so this is the demo. As part of this demo, we'll do a walkthrough of how NGINX server can be installed on Ubuntu virtual machine using cloud portal, Azure cloud portal. So as per the agenda, this is what we'll be doing. First, we'll use one of the websites for ChatGPT to give us some script on how we can follow these steps using some prompts. And let's try with that first. Okay, so we can say that I want to create an NGINX server using you on Ubuntu or Linux VM. And to be more elaborate, we can also say I need you to write the steps for, say, Azure portal to create manually. So we can be very specific with that without infrastructure as code. Assume that I am a layman on this technology for this technology. And this prompt would generate and provide us all the steps that we can utilize for this demo, which I already have it saved as part of the PPT. So now we'll go back to the PPT and do a walkthrough. Okay, this is still generating. So I copied this PPT with the script into the PPT as well. So you can take a look. So here is the prompt, and at the bottom I have provided this script with the link which can be used as a reference. Now we'll go ahead with the remaining agenda steps. Next, we will be creating a resource group for this whole activities, where we'll store the VM, we'll assign some network interface, network security groups, IP address, and all those will be assigned as part of this resource group. And we will also, because this is on Linux server, Ubuntu is one of the flavors of Unix, we'll be using connecting through SSH. And once connection is established, we will install the NGINX server on it. So we'll go over some screenshots that were captured as part of this activity. So first we log into the Azure through one of the browsers, Azure portal. And here we'll search for a resource group. And we'll create one resource group with the name NGINX AP2-RG. So the suffix basically says it's a resource group. That's a good practice to have the naming convention for easily readable of this name. Once that resource group is ready, we'll go ahead and create a virtual machine. here you have multiple options to choose from, what kind of zone you want without no infrastructure needed, or you want to be very specific. As this is a demo, we'll try to go with something the minimal configuration that keeps the price less of monthly cost for this virtual machine. The image would be Ubuntu. Size can be a one CPU with maybe the minimal RAM. And here you have option what kind of key type you can choose, RSA or ED 25519 format. Okay. So this is basically once you provide all those details, you come to the final page where it is validated and validation passed, and you should be able to see the process for deploying has resumed and it is now complete. So once this is done, you have an option to actually download the public private key that gets generated as part of this SSH connection. Okay. So you can see the IP address has been assigned, and you can now connect to the virtual machine, which is up and running. So in this case, I've connected using the command line interface. So once you connect, you execute the command using a admin privilege using sudo command, and make sure the existing packages are properly updated. And then you use the command to install NGINX. So this would basically install all those required libraries and dependency files for the web server to be installed. So once this is done, you can use a status command to basically see if the application is up and running. So you can see in the green, the status active shows as running. That means our activity is actually now complete. So now we'll perform the same. So this is basically on from the browser as well to verify that it is up and running. So that's the slides. So now we'll go to the virtual machine Azure portal and try to execute the same command. So let's go ahead and create an resource group. I'll give it a name. And then X 01 hyphen RG. I'll keep the region as it is. If you want to give a tag, you can give, let's say this is engine X. You can give, this is on Linux. So I'll say maybe Linux. So next, review and tag, both are validated. Let's go ahead and create. The resource group is created. So now let's create a virtual machine. Okay, create Azure virtual machine. So I'm going to select the newly created resource group for this virtual machine, which is NGINX01RG. We can give a name, say NGINX-VM, which means virtual machine. Region, I'm going to keep as it is US East. Availability options, I want to keep with no infrastructure redundancy required. And security type, I'll keep the standard. Image, we can select a Ubuntu. LTS is a long-term support, Ubuntu server. Okay, then let's see. So here you have an option to choose Azure Spot Discount. So basically, you have two options. One is reserved, which means imagine you have your production, you need a production server, and you know that for sure that you will keep that server for a couple of years. In that case, when you go for reserved, you basically pay a very minimal price for hosting that. The challenge with the spot is you'll be given very little intimation if they have to remove the server. So in that cases, you want to use these spot discounts for servers to run like any bad jobs. That way, the no users are impacting. You can see how the price came down from $70 to $13. So for now, this will be a short duration, so I won't mind trying with Azure Spot. So I'll go ahead. Eviction policy, it's asking, do you want me to stop it or should the VM should be deleted? So I'll say stop. Size, I don't mind keeping the same. SSL public key is by default selected. So I'm gonna give a username name and generate new public key. That is fine. RSA is also fine. Allowed SSH is allowed. Okay. So I'll go to the next options, image. So OS disk type, I'm gonna say the minimum, which is 32 GB. Disk size is 32 GB and type is premium is little high end, which is not required. So I will say I'll take the standard one. Okay, I'll go ahead and now choose some networking options. Virtual network, okay, it already picked. It's going to generate an IP address as well, which is public. So this option, I think it's good to select when you're deleting the VN once you consume the resources. It's better that it automatically deletes the allocated IP address and network interface. Okay. But load balancing, for now, I'm just keeping it done. We'll go ahead and look into the management settings. Login with the intra ID is basically active directory, another form of active directory, new form of active directory, I would say. For now, which is not required, I'll just try on my own. If needed later, we can create some new users, assign them some roles as a contributor or the owner, and they can also access. So this is for those. So I'm not selecting that as of now. Guest OS updates, orchestration, I'm going to keep the default settings here. We'll look at some monitoring. Nothing going to change. We'll go to advanced. Extensions, nothing required. Custom data is basically if you want to give some queries that you need to run during the boot up process, you can do that here. For now, there's nothing. No tags. I'm going to go ahead, review and create. Okay, validation passed on the top. So I'll go ahead and create the virtual machine. So this is a one-time option. If you want to save the private key, you can do it now. Later, you won't have an option if needed to connect through native VM like that. To the native SSH connection. Okay, the deployment is in progress. So as part of this creation, you will see few other dependency resources will be created, like a network interface, network security groups, virtual network, a disk will be allocated, and a new IP address. So those are all done. Disk you won't be seeing now. Once you connect to the virtual machine and when you come back, and you should be able to see the disk that has been allocated. So I will give some more seconds. So what things we should consider during selecting VM would be for what environment are we using? what should be the CPU utilization on this. We should make sure at least there's 70 to 80% of utilization, and when that's the best way to use. Otherwise, we'll be paying more for the services. We can consider more other settings, like you want this to be up and running all the time. If it's a staging environment VM or testing environment VM, you can consider shutting down when not in use. So those factors, if once we are aware, we can be very cost efficient for this VM. So now the deployment is complete. We'll go ahead and go to the resource. Okay. It's already, you can see the status, agent status. So basically agent status is um, you know um, this virtual machine is basically on top of a hypervisor, under which we have the host operating system, the physical server that is there. So this agent is basically helps us communicate with that hypervisor and provide the readiness. So we can see that the state is ready. Now we can go ahead. The public IP address is also um, generated. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to this VM. So we have two options: either connect to the native VM, which requires a private key, or we can also connect from the Azure command line interface. So I'll go ahead and select this. The validation is in progress. We'll give a few minutes. It will verify if the port 22, which is for SSH, is open, and we are able to have some connection to the VM once it is established. Okay, I'll go ahead. I click on understand just in time. Virtual machine may be reconfigured to allow any source IP. Okay, let's connect. So if it was an same web server, say NGINX, can be installed on Windows as well. So in that case, we'll use RDP. Okay, there's some SSH login extension, unable to install login extension. Okay. So this should not, haven't seen this. Let's see what is this error. Okay. Prerequisites could not be configured. So we can, okay. System as and manage identity is good. So let's try again. Not sure why that intranet, we haven't selected anything there. If the error shows up again, we'll try to create a virtual machine um, without the spot source. Okay, let's go ahead. Figure. Okay, now it was able to. It just took some time for the intranet setup to take care. Okay, so now it's connecting to the virtual machine. There's a command on the cloud interface, which basically we say Azure SSH and provide the subscription ID, the name of the VM, and say, can you connect to this virtual machine? So it's asking, there's some authenticity. Do you know this IP address? I said yes. So I'm going to say type yes, enter. So there are two types of SSH. One is RSA and EDH. So it used, I think, EDH 2219. So I'm fine. So now you can see the prompt from has changed to the username and the host name. Okay, so now let's, before installing the app Nginx, so we will try to see if there are any required updates. So we use advanced packet control, so advanced package tool to see if there are any updates required. Okay, all packages are up to date. That is good. Now let's go ahead and install Nginx, which means sudo apt install Nginx. So after the operation is saying the additional disk that's fully utilized, we are okay with that. We'll say yes. Now all the dependency files, libraries have been extracted. We'll see that process taking care. Okay, that is done. So now the installation is done. We have to start our Nginx servers. For this, we can use the command system control to start the service, say Nginx. So this is a case sensitive web server. The name is a case sensitive. So if you try to give caps in Nginx, then it will try to install some other um, app service. So just be mindful of that. So it started, it doesn't provide any command, any status. So to see the status, we'll use the same command, but instead of start, we will say provide the status of this server. Okay. So it's saying unit service could not be found. Um, Nginx, yeah. Sorry, I typed the spelling typo for the status. So it's sudo systemctl status nginx. Yeah. So now you can see the status as active and running. So the VM is the app server is up and running. So we'll verify the same from the browser. So we'll go um, try to launch from the browser with the IP address. It's loading. Okay, it took too long to respond. Um, for this, I think we should, so during the VM installation, the port we gave was SSH, which was 22, but for HTTP, I think we should also give the port, which we haven't. So we'll go back and we can now actually allow that port as well. So this, we have to do this. Um, we go to the virtual machine first, and the next VM. So let's go to the network security groups. If you can find that, network settings. Okay, that is network interface. This is the network security group. Okay, here you have an option to choose what kind of ports you have. So from the inbound ports, you can see only SSH is has been allowed. So we're gonna add also HTTP inbound security rules. Okay, we're gonna add. So source can be any, which means it can be for my IP, other IP. I'm just keeping that same. Port range also, I let it pick. Destination can also be any. Service, we're gonna say HTTP. Okay, it already by default it picked 80. I'm not able to edit it. Okay, that is fine. So I'll say add. So okay, it gave a priority as 310. That is okay. Now let's try if it shows up on the browser and the HTTP port is open. Sometimes it takes some time for the changes to reflect. Um,
Can you share the URL here?
yes. Uh, yeah. So now you can see it's up and running. Can you try on your side, Shanti, as well?
Yes, great. It's coming up.
Okay, the HTTP port is open and
Yes,
VM is also running and the
right.
web server is also running.
Okay, good, good. Let us stop the recording.
Okay.